What's going on, everyone? Happy Thursday to everyone. Hopefully everyone is staying safe and healthy. If you had to take a COVID test, hopefully you have tested negative. If you ended up testing positive, I hope you have a full and speedy recovery. And if you ended up testing positive, there's a holiday weekend coming up. Unfortunately, that means you're going to miss out on the fun and festivities of 4th of July because you need to quarantine for your positive case of COVID. It's very important. Just because you may even be asymptomatic this weekend, it does not mean you get the privilege of going to a barbecue or a party. You're going to need to quarantine for at least 5 days, if not longer. Alrighty, we have several news stories to get through today. There's a lot of data that I want to show you today, including holiday weekend potential hotspots for COVID. And we do have a channel announcement at the end of this video in regards to the frequency of pandemic updates. Yes, there's a change coming. Don't worry, it's just a temporary change, but there is a change coming. Alright, first off, India. COVID-19 cases in India today. 47 new cases. The active cases dropped to 1,549, and their total number of deaths are at 531,905. That was updated at 8 a.m. over in India's time. Alrighty, as I said, we do have a lot of news stories to get through to today, and some of them do stem back to yesterday. That's simply because we didn't get to do a pandemic update yesterday. Sadly, I had to go to a funeral for a relative who had passed away, and I was just too tired when I came back. I got back at about 5 o'clock yesterday, and I said, it's a little too late to do a pandemic update, so some of the data is from yesterday. Alrighty, what's wrong with Madonna? This happened yesterday, and unfortunately, Madonna's manager announced yesterday, meaning, I believe, let's see, okay, no, this article is from today, so yesterday, meaning Wednesday, they announced this. And Madonna's manager announced yesterday that she developed a bacterial infection over the weekend and ended up in the hospital. She was hospitalized. That includes spending time in the intensive care unit. And I've been getting a lot of news stories thrown at me. You know how your phone, these things right here. You know how they always constantly send you news stories. Well, it's been sending me news stories on Madonna. And apparently the family did not know if she was going to make it or not. And they're saying that this was a bacterial infection. Could it have been something else? Could it have been something worse that led up to this? Don't know. I do not want to speculate. Let's move on to our next story. Hopefully she has a full recovery because, real quick, hopefully she has a full recovery because, this is happening all too frequently. We see so many actors, actresses, musicians, comedians, and entertainers in general. Have any of you, I'm assuming most of my people who watch this, most of the people who follow me, do not attend shows. I don't attend shows right now. We're still in a pandemic. But a lot of people do. And, a lot of events are getting postponed because of sudden medical emergencies with these celebrities. It's happening frequently. Did it happen before the pandemic? A lot of people tell me, yes, this always happened, blah, you're just fear-mongering. No, I'm not fear-mongering. Yes, you are correct. To those who say it, you're correct. These sudden medical emergencies did happen before the pandemic. However, I make the case here because we've been doing these videos now since last summer. We started July 3rd of last summer. The one-year channel anniversary is coming up pretty soon. I think it was July 3rd. The point being made is we have reported on quite a few things that have been canceled. Or better yet, if you follow me at COVID Data Report on Twitter, we have reported on several instances where a celebrity has to cancel an event because either they tested positive for COVID or they had a sudden medical emergency. And my friends, I'm telling you, it's happening a lot more frequently than it used to happen before coronavirus. Now we move on to this issue. 7 more cats in Poland have died of H5N1 bird flu, raising the total to 16. It's still unknown how they're getting infected. Now there is an update to this. Let's continue on to the next story. This is from BNO News. I love it when they tweet this information out. World Organization for Animal Health releases statement on H5N1 bird flu in cats. 16 cases so far. A direct role from infected wild birds is unlikely as a common source, and no indication of cat-to-cat transmission. Suspected cases should be isolated and handled with PPE, personal protection equipment. Confirmed H5N1 bird flu cases in cats so far this year. Poland, 16, all of them this month. United States, 6. France, 1. So, it's uncertain how this is transmitting. Could it be coming from humans? It's possible. They are saying wild birds is unlikely at this time. So, this is an evolving situation, something that we will continue to monitor. Now, moving on to this. I assume everyone remembers Dr. Leanna Wan. Late 2021, in through 2022. Oh, the COVID cautious community was, raging up a storm out against Dr. Leanna Wan because, and I'll admit it, we used to have a video on this channel. I think I hit it, where we were not happy with Dr. Leanna Wan either, because her whole theory was, vax and relax. You can't keep mask, this, that. You can't just keep doing it. You have to go back to normal. We need to normalize. Basically, she was trying to normalize getting infected, which is absolutely horrifying to think about. And apparently, she was hospitalized as of recently for pneumonia, chest pain, and severe shortness of breath. And she said it made her stop and pause and have to think about her own health and well-being. She had to pause for a moment and say, whoa, slow down. I need to stop being superhero, or whatever she calls herself, and take my own health seriously. This just shows you that there is a lot of stuff going around out there, and you need to be careful. All right, moving on to this. This is from Nate Bear on Twitter. A lot of the things here today come from Twitter. That's sometimes where I find the data and information. He says, breaking news, there has been an astonishing 50% rise in teacher sickness absences in England since 2019, by far the highest of any public sector employees in the UK, as mass COVID infection in schools proves highly disruptive to children's education. Well, hello, when you have a large number of people together, such as children and teachers and adults, in one setting, yes, you're going to have COVID cases. You're going to have sickness. You're going to have illness. And since many people have had COVID, their immunity has been worn down. And look what happens here. Take a look at the chart. You can see here, there is a big rise in sicknesses. Look at teachers in England. A really big rise in the number of people calling out sick. Now moving on to this. Face mask and selfie bans return to live at COVID-19 in Tour de France peloton. Yep, that's right. COVID protocols are going on again because earlier this year there was a bike race competition where there was several people who tested positive. Therefore, look at the picture. You're going to see that again if you watch Tour de France on TV or however you should choose to watch it. You're going to see people wearing a mask again. Now moving on to this. A former Pfizer employee charged with insider trading on unrelated COVID pill data. So this is not good. So for those who trade in the stock market, maybe you have, maybe you haven't. I have before. One thing that is a big no-no. If someone who, let's just say, they're an executive in a company, and they know something's going to happen in that company, such as, they're going to have a product that's going to take off, or they're going to release a really good earnings report, and they know before everyone else, and they're telling you about it. You can't be going out there and saying, oh, shoot, I know that information. I better get in there and buy me 100,000 shares of such and such stock. No, no, no. You can't do that. It's insider trading. They knew what was going to happen with the vaccine, and, well, they went out there and did some trading, and they had over $350,000 worth of profits from the Pfizer stock. And we have one last news story for today. CDC research says long COVID is contributing to labor shortages. We've done a series of labor shortages on here. We'll be due for another update on that in a couple weeks. I mean, let's face it, it's everywhere. Everywhere I go, especially in my industry. I do gig work apps and I do deliveries. I see so many restaurants and places saying, "Help wanted, help wanted, help wanted." Yes, it happened before the pandemic, but I'll be completely honest with you. I'm seeing more signs now than I've ever seen before. It used to be worse in rural areas than in places like big metropolitan areas, like I live here in Philadelphia. And I think it's just as bad everywhere now. I mean, I'm seeing help wanted all over the place. And they're saying about 18% of those with long COVID have not returned to work for over a year. The CDC says it's hurting the U.S. economy. It is. Let's say you have a factory, you don't have enough employees because some have long COVID and you can't get enough employees. Well, guess what? That slows production. When production is slowed, places that sell their product, guess what? They're not getting enough product in. And guess what? If they can't sell enough product because they don't have inventory because the production's down, guess what? The sales for everything is down, and ultimately that hurts the economy. So, yes, this is a real problem. All right, we do want to show you the air quality values for today because it's bad for oh so many people. And the ones on the West Coast are probably saying, "Please stop whining. We had this problem." I get it, but hey, it's a problem that's happening now, and I do want to showcase it. We have reds, we have purples again. The wildfire smoke is back, and unfortunately, there's going to be multiple more cases of this summer. This is not the last time. This is the second time it's happened, at least in the East. The upper Midwest, you've had it multiple times, and there's no telling how long this could last. It's going to improve somewhat tomorrow, at least that's what modeling shows. But again, these same models didn't have it getting as bad as it is now, so we'll just have to see what happens over the weekend. Please exercise caution in these areas. Please, if you're going to be outside for a long period of time, wear an N95 respirator. I mean, being exposed to this for a long period of time is equivalent to smoking multiple cigarettes. Cigarettes are bad for your health. Wildfire smoke's bad for your health. I mean, look at Pennsylvania and Michigan. We have purple. That's extremely dangerous. Air quality alerts are up for all of these areas. Moving on now to some data from Walgreens, and we're just going to do the national positivity today because we do have a lot of data to get through. The national positivity is at 23.4%. Prior week was at 24.9%. That's a difference of down 1.5%. Total tests this week, 1,745. The prior week was 2,043. Now there's some bad news, and sometimes I say, oh, it looks like it's going to start rising again to wastewater nationally, and this is a pretty alarming sign. We went from most sectors dropping to all suddenly, take a look at this. Most sectors now are starting to rise, and not only rise, the southeast region is starting to rapidly rise. In the pink, purple down here, the Midwest is starting to rise. The Northeast is just flat. The West Coast is starting to rise. So down in the South, your summer surge of COVID has come. We will have a new wastewater update video, a full one. I don't know when that's going to be because, again, channel announcement at the end. Spoiler alert. Yep, that vacation that I warned you about that I'm going on, it's coming. It's coming. I'm leaving for it tomorrow. So there will be a wastewater update, but the thing is, it's going to be based on, can I get Wi-Fi? We'll have to see. I hope to get Wi-Fi at some place, but we'll see. All right, new sites this week, 116, 0 to 19 detected, that's low levels of COVID, 787, 20% through 39% number of sites, that's at 344, that's low to approaching moderate, 40 to 59%, 114 sites there, and that previous one was 344. Apologies about that. 60 to 79%. That's definitely moderate. That's coming into the high range. 17 sites, and high to very high, 80 to 100% COVID detected. There are 5 sites out there like that, and some of the hotspots that I think are going to be an issue for the weekend or for going into the holiday. New England, you do have a lot of vacation resort towns. These areas, Vermont, Stowe, Vermont. You do have Cape Cod. You do have places in upstate New York, places in Connecticut. New Hampshire, Massachusetts, Maine. That's actually where I'm headed this weekend. Maine, along the coastal areas, is huge for tourism. They're probably expecting over 1 million people on the Maine Turnpike this weekend. I'll be one of them. And there's other places. You go down to the south, like places like Myrtle Beach. Then you come up to Virginia Beach, New Jersey Shore. It's going to be absolutely packed. Do you ever hear Bruce Springsteen sing 4th of July song? You know, he's talking about Asbury Park. Those areas are going to be jam-packed with people this weekend. Luckily, where I'm going up in Maine, I'll be able to social distance. I'm staying at a relative's place where it's on a lake. I'm not going to be anywhere near the big crowds. Yes, still be a lot of traffic on the road, but I'm not going to be anywhere near the beach areas where the big crowds are going to be. Taking a look out in the West Coast, you'll have some hot spots out here as well. The Rocky Mountains, like the national parks. The national parks are probably booked solid for this next couple of weeks because, let's face it, though it's a holiday weekend, the majority of people are probably going to have off next week for vacation, or they're just going to take a vacation week because 4th of July falls on Tuesday this year. So this is a huge week, probably one of the biggest vacation weeks of the year. So if you are going on vacation, do so safely. Do so safely. I'm going to be taking precautions if we do have to go anywhere other than staying on the lake or going out in a boat fishing or something. I will be masking everywhere I go. Moving on to our next bit of data, we do want to take a look at the latest COVID variants. This will not update again. It won't update this week. It'll update again next week. We probably will do a variant update while on vacation. Trust me, I'm going to find Wi-Fi. You're going to get updates. They just won't be every day. Maybe every so many days. XBB 1.5 is at 27%. XBB 116, 19.9%. XBB 192 is at 13%. XBB 191 is at 11.4%. And XBB 2.3 is at 10.6%. And XBB 116.1 is at 9.5%. Then you do have variant soup, which continues. There's about almost a dozen more variants that I did not mention. Let's take a look at this, and we do want to refresh. This is the ER visits over the last week. I've been waiting for it to update all day long, and it finally did update, and oh my. Okay, so this is late breaking news right here. Breaking news. It's not looking good here. Remember here, the gray is insufficient data, green are moderate to substantial, yellow is stable, and the oranges and bright orange is bad. And wow, we have a lot of places where ER visits are suddenly starting to rise. District of Columbia, that's Washington, D.C., and they are seeing a substantial increase. Mississippi, substantial increase. Arkansas, substantial increase. Kansas, substantial increase. Wyoming, substantial increase. Idaho, substantial increase. Montana, substantial increase. North Dakota, substantial increase. Then we come over here to Hawaii, and what is Hawaii listed as? Substantial increase. Texas is seeing a moderate increase. Nebraska is seeing, it says minimal, but it's also listed as moderate increase in the coloring. So we'll go with that it's minimal to moderate, we'll say. And then you come over here to Washington. That's also showing the color of moderate, and it's minimal to, we'll say minimal to moderate. How about Texas? Yeah, that's orange color as well. Not making much sense to me, but moving on to our next topic, and we do want to take a look at those wastewater sites, which show more things than just coronavirus, which show multiple different things. And we'll look at some places that may potentially be hotspots for the 4th of July holiday, where, you know, it could be either rising, or maybe it's a place that you're going to be going for the 4th of July holiday if you're going to travel. I don't think many of followers here are traveling, unfortunately, but taking a look here, let's start off in New Hampshire. This is Concord, New Hampshire. You can see coronavirus is dropping. Influenza is flat. RSV is flat. HMPV, no issues with that right now. And good news is there's no monkeypox being detected. Norovirus, there are low levels of that being detected. And just for the heck of it, this is probably going to be a very popular area, which would be Portland, Maine. Portland, Maine is seeing a drop in coronavirus at this time. For influenza, it's not being detected right now. There was some detection of it back at the end of May into June. RSV, not an issue. HMPV, not an issue. Monkeypox is not an issue. And norovirus, it's still out there. but it is slowly dropping at this time. Another area that is going to be big for 4th of July weekend, or potentially big, is Vermont. Vermont does see tourism, so let's see what's going on in Burlington. Coronavirus is dropping at this time. It's there, but it's dropping. Influenza is not a problem. RSV is not a problem. HMPV, not a problem. Monkeypox, not a problem. And norovirus, it's there, but in low levels. Upstate New York. I don't think we have any sites for upstate New York. I wish we did, because the Catskills, the Adirondacks, that's a huge tourism area, and we don't have anything for there at this time. Jersey Shore, like I said, we can check Belmar, New Jersey. I don't know the last time this update. Okay, June 23rd. Coronavirus, it's there. It's flat to slightly rising. Influenza, not an issue. RSV, not an issue. HMPV is not an issue. Monkeypox, not detected. And norovirus, look how low norovirus is going. That's good to see. Continuing on, let's take a look at a few other sections of the country. We do want to come down here to Miami. I would assume Miami is going to be a busy place over the holiday weekend. And coronavirus, wow. It's actually rapidly starting to rise, folks. That's concerning. Influenza is not an issue at this time. RSV, not an issue. HMPV, not an issue. Monkeypox, none being detected. Norovirus, it's out there. It's leveled off a little bit and maybe starting to rise. Let's see. Where else could potentially be a holiday weekend spot? There's a lot of other areas we could check in Florida. Unfortunately, we cannot check Louisiana, New Orleans. I would assume that's going to be a popular spot at this time. And let's go to let's say we go out to the West Coast if we can. Not sure what just happened with our map here. Here we go. Our map came back. And let's see what's going on in the Las Vegas area. That could be a potential spot that's of concern for the holiday weekend. And Las Vegas, coronavirus, it's slightly starting to rise. Influenza, RSV, HMPV, all not a problem. Monkeypox, there are some slight concerns with that. Norovirus, it was dropping. Now it's showing that it is starting to rise again. And let's do one more area that could potentially be a holiday weekend spot. Let's just go up to upstate Wisconsin. Is this maybe where people go? Let's see. It looks like this wastewater site just started, so that's good. I'm always happy to see new wastewater sites, and you can see here at this site, coronavirus, it's there, but we can't really get a sense of what's going on. Monkeypox, because this is just too new of a site. Alright, let's take a look at New Jersey for today. 198 hospitalizations, 7 people on a ventilator. How about in the ICU? In the ICU, currently 19 people are in the ICU. Discharges, 21 people were discharged from the hospital. It does not include deaths. Let's take a look at the EMS calls in Philadelphia. 732 EMS calls were reported on Wednesday. I suspect today is going to be high. I had to run some errands earlier, and some of those errands were in Montgomery County, some of them were in Philadelphia County. I saw so many ambulances this afternoon. It was just ridiculous. And whoa, what's going on here in Montgomery County right now on our live look-in? Look at all these active calls. We have head injuries. We have cardiac emergencies. I mean, some of these head injuries could be, someone's getting dizzy from the wildfire smoke. It can mess with you. It can. And I suspect some of the wildfire smoke is the reason for some of these calls. How about Chester County? What's going on there? All right, Chester County, just one call at this time. That's not bad at all. That's really good. And unfortunately, that is a sick person. Taking a look at New York State, 345 new COVID cases reported. The test positivity is 3.9%. The 7-day average is at 4.3%. Taking a look at the hospitalizations in New York State, 416 people hospitalized, 53 people in the ICU. And overall, New York State is continuing to drop at this time. You can see here, there's no rise in admissions. We can go to New York City. New York City is not rising at this time. Maybe you're going to be headed up to the Finger Lakes for the holiday weekend. What's going on there right now? And you can see the admissions in that area are not rising. And the hospitalizations, you know what? They're not dropping anymore. It looks to me like they have leveled off a little bit. They were dropping. I mean, they were dropping for a long period of time. Then they started off this week higher. Then they did start dropping again. I always do like to see where a region starts off the week. Alrighty, moving on. Texas did update yesterday. Unfortunately, they had an increase in COVID cases. Current week, 3,915. That's 579 higher. Hospitalizations dropped, and fatalities, they had just 20 fatalities this week. We are not going to do an international update today. This is going to be where we end today's pandemic update because, as you can see, this is a really long update. And yes, updates are going to be less frequent for the next 2 weeks because I am going on uh, summer vacation, I guess you could say, up in Maine. It's going to be a socially distanced rest and relaxation, but please follow me on Twitter at COVID Data Report. It will be down below. Trust me, I am going to continue tweeting just as often, maybe in some cases even more. Although I don't know, but the tweets will continue. You'll see me doing frequent updates there. Any news stories, thoughts that come to my head, things that I witness. There'll still be some videos here on the channel. I don't know when the next one's going to be. I might do a couple air quality reviews. The AirNet's coming along with me. There may be a couple nature places that I go to, at quiet times of the day, and I might do a video on that. There's one place in mind that I really do want to get on video. It just has a beautiful, beautiful view. You can actually see the White Mountains, and you can actually see Mount Washington from it. It's a really nice place. But if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more updates like this, subscribe to my channel down below. As always, stay safe, everyone, but especially during this holiday weekend. If you have any holiday weekend plans, please do them safe and responsibly. And when I say responsibly, I don't just mean coronavirus. Please, no drinking and driving over this holiday weekend. You don't want a DUI, and we need the road to be safe because everyone has to share the roadway. So I will see you all again next time. Thanks for watching. And remember, subscribe or follow me on Twitter down below because I will continue to be tweeting there just as frequently as normal. See you all again in the near distant future. Take care. Have a great holiday weekend.